team banned.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Beyond the Summit presentation. We're bringing you guys a game between Zenith and Rattlesnake Gaming. This is a best of 3 for the AMD Premier League here, and we are going to be seeing what these two teams have to bring to the table to the quarterfinals of this tournament. So they've been battling out through the previous rounds for quite some time, taking down a few qualifier teams and such, but this is probably one of the best matchups I've seen so far this tournament, and I am absolutely looking forward to it. It's going to be really, really interesting. I myself am Blaze, and I am joined here today by Maruna. How's it going?
Hi, man, this tournament, I just looked at the bracket and I'm amazed by these teams. I checked the invitations for the International Eastern Qualifier, and every team apart from LGD, CN is in. So for all the viewers who are sitting there with their Dota 2 compendium and looking for the best team in the Eastern Qualifier, watching this match is certainly going to help you.
10 seconds.
Although Zenith is directly invited, so maybe they're the favorites to win this, because they're, in the eyes of Valve, a worthy team. Rattlesnake has to battle it out. Let's see if they can put a good game up. I'm just looking at their name. That's really interesting how they spell it.
Yeah,
with all the
capitalization. That is, alternating caps, I guess. But yeah, it's interesting.
Very
Gets
modern.
a little bit of, that whole look at this kind of thing. But I don't know, a little bit eye-catchy. Either way, Zenith, yeah, like as you said, they have been totally invited. They are directly going on into TI3, but of course, winning a couple tournaments along the way certainly won't hurt, and certainly will help their practice as far as trying to be a dominant force when they get there. But along those lines, yeah, Rattlesnake is one of the teams to compete in the Eastern Qualifiers, hosted by Beyond the Summit, and that is going to be something that they look to try to take this as an opportunity to step up their game, try to move in towards different play styles, a little bit of what they're not used to, and then, yes, try to make sure that they're going to be on top of the action there, because of course they're looking for at least second place, if not first, to try to go in for the wild card or the qualifier spot itself. Either way, a lot of different things coming out, but one thing to mention in this draft is this early Alchemist pick and this early Tinkerband. The Tinkerband is a bit of a respect one, to make sure that Zenith doesn't have that available just because their mid player has such potency on that Tinker. But beyond that, it's pretty standard. The Batrider, the Lifestealer, the Nyx Assassin all being taken out. The Lone Druid and Shadow Demon picked up by Zenith. But Rattlesnake drafting up extremely dynamically. I have not seen something like this before. So Leshrac, first pick, Alchemist, second pick. What do you feel about that?
This looks like a fun battle between Lone Druid and Alchemist. If they both get a hand of Midas, we might see a very, very long game. It's interesting because in the Western scene, there would be a Magnus now, or a Darkseer, but they're like, nope, let's pick our carries, we want to farm, we want to get some money.
Exactly. So a lot of cash will be flowing from the Grievel's Greed. They have their tri-lane essentially 100% set up. The Leshrac, Earthshaker, Alchemist on combo. A lot of some of the Western teams favor like an Ogre Magi to supplement the Leshrac, and they can pick that in the 4th or 5th stage. But you don't really need attack speed or movement speed on Alchemist. He's already got that pretty well covered with his ultimate. So that would be just, go with the Earthshaker, avoid the push as much as possible up against the Lone Druid, and that's what you get out of Earth. You get a bunch of turtling presence, and you get some great lane presence with the fact you can do stun after stun after stun, the Fissure into Split Earth, into Unstable Concoction. It's something I expect to see very, very actively in the lane. And, of course, there is also that Fissure block, which Queen of Pain will have to outmaneuver with her Blink, but the others don't really have too much of a choice, so we'll see how much of an impact that makes on the game itself. But right now, Queen of Pain is picked up. That is one of the main heroes in the Eastern scene as well. Going to be picked up for that mid lane there. And presumably that means the Lone Druid will be on the off-lane Shadow Demon, supporting in the safe lane tri-lane to pick up a secondary core hero. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about the draft as a whole?
Rattlesnake is drafting very interesting. When there was the G1 League the last season, I did some statistics about it over at Gosu Gamers, and I looked at which heroes are picked in which phases, and it actually showed that in 100% of all games, the solo hero was picked, or one of the solo heroes, either the offlaner or the mid-solo, was picked in the first phase, and Rattlesnake are just saying, no, we pick our trial, and we don't pick any Darkseer for the offlane, we don't pick anything for the mid. And now they're just spanning out carries, because they have what they want, and now they're just gonna be flexible, and maybe pick a Puck for their mid. Puck is recently, like a bit flavor of the month. Everyone suddenly started picking him again. It's always crazy to see that. Nothing changed and everyone's going crazy about Puck.
Exactly. So, interesting bans coming on through. I definitely expected the Juggernaut ban at the very least, and of course on top of that we have the Dragonite. Those are two heroes that can work well with the Shadow Demon in the tri-lane and add in a little bit of annoying push, either from the Corrosive Breath of the level 6 Dragonite or from the Healing Ward of the Juggernaut. In turn, it looks like Zenith wants to take out offlaners. Of course, like I said, the tri-lane has been taken care of, so they only have to really worry about solo-oriented heroes. That Magnus could be something they're considering because, you know, of course, the Reverse Polarity, Echo Slam, Unstable Concoction sounds pretty dangerous. So I would say Darkseer and Magnus are probably the most likely next two bans. But yeah, we'll see. We see the Darkseer here and the Gyrocopter for Rattlesnake Gaming. So continuing with that banning of the #1 carries that will work just all too well with that Shadow Demon.
So what is there left? They need a mid and they pick a... Wow. Well, this is not something we expected because Visage is usually the trial lane hero, and we just agreed on that their first 3 heroes were a good trial lane. Okay. And now they pick a Visage, so I really don't know if they're going to put that in the trial lane. Maybe they're going to go an aggressive trial lane with Earthshaker, Visage, and Leshrac, and just save farm the Alchemist and get him a lot of gold just by creeps killing, and then they're going to kill heroes with their trial lane.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting maneuver. In this position, we could see like an all-out, just hardcore aggressive tri-lane up on the top lane there, which could be just like Leshrac, Earthshaker, Visage, all 3 together, just going for as much kill potential as possible and not really worrying about farm. In that situation, Leshrac would be the farm priority in technicality, just because if he does get tanky enough, that Pulse Nova can dish out a ton of damage over the course of a team fight. But of course, compared to Alchemist, he doesn't really care too much about those creeps. He's really just going for hero kills. So I could definitely see Earthshaker, Visage, Leshrac run on the top lane aggressively, and then Alchemist could be on the mid or safe either way. Or, yeah, we could see a solo mid lane of either the Visage, the Leshrac, or the Alchemist in technicality. That's not something we see very commonly, but it definitely has its place. Up against the Queen of Pain, it's going to be difficult no matter what you send against her, because she has so much rune control with her blink and slowing effects and lane presence with her other 2 skills. So that's going to be rather important. We see the Undying kind of shaping up for that tri-lane versus tri-lane, and it's going to work well with the Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon Disruption into the Tombstone is a pretty good combo for pickoffs on heroes like Nature's Prophet, but I really think that Rattlesnake is going aggressive try, and that means Zenith has to pick up a hero like Undying to make that work for them.
Undying is a strong try, and Visage is a strong trial lane. And something I actually want to point out, where is the Keeper of the Light, where is the Phantom Lance? And I'm so happy if they don't pick it now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to be sad, because Keeper of the Light is really good with Shadow Demon, obviously, and strong in a trial lane, but now they kind of have the 2 supports, so we're going to see. I don't think there's going to be a Phantom Lance, so this is a cancer-free game for all the viewers, and I think we all agree that this is something very nice.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sure it's dynamic, and we don't just have to wait and wait and wait, because, of course, the Chinese scene was the one that got the bad rap for the constant farming and the continuously push things, but it's shifted a lot. Now it's very high aggressive 5-man Dota, and both teams kind of shaping up for that already. Every single hero, except maybe the Lone Druid, has a lot of benefits in that field, so that's going to be pretty awesome. Yeah, I definitely think that they could be looking for some major carry pickup, but not obviously a Phantom Lancer, because there's going to be too much fighting early on, and he's not going to have the mana to support him. So they go for Windrunner, and that just makes things all the more interesting. They could go for a safe lane Lone Druid, tri-lane him, and put Farm Priority on him, but he won't get the levels, and then have Windrunner come in with amazingly high levels later on, so that she can get the really good shackle shots off in the future. I kind of think that would be more what they want to look at, but right now we are seeing Ice pick up the Lone Druid, and he of course runs on the offlane most frequently, though he does switch up the roles a little bit here and there as it suits them. But yeah, we of course see Rattlesnake picking up this lineup here. Kabu is going to be on the Leshrac, Luel on the Alchemist, Saga is on the Earthshaker, and then Lanum on the Visage, Icy on the Nature's Prophet. So the way I expect this to play out is an aggressive tri-lane. It could be with the Alchemist, because of course Concoction adds in a lot, or without it, depending on who they want to run as their solo mid. But Icy should most likely be on the safe lane solo, so that what they can do is just teleport him in for a 4 versus 3, and that can be rather formidable as well.
And I'm wondering how long it takes before that Windrunner picture with Cinderin's face on it appears in the Twitch chat.
Not very long.
No, not very long. Windrunner is kind of like Nature's Prophet, just suddenly coming back into the metagame, and everyone is really eager and picking. And oh god, I have a horrible ping. I'm even lagging a little bit.
Oh wow.
I have a 400 ping, and that.
Yeah.
It's like.
Interesting. Yeah, I've had spectator ping, but it's never really affected me, so hopefully it's not too big a deal. But yeah.
Yeah, we've had so much internet issues the last days that I'm currently on the neighbor's Wi-Fi, so it's probably not that good. So it's good that you're streaming and I'm just talking and no one has to see my laggy screen.
Nice, nice. Alright then, so as far as how things are shaping up here, yeah, we definitely see some aggressive presence. It looks like Lua has gone for a 3-branch and tango build. The two things that this could signify is an early bottle or more likely an early Midas. I have seen that build a number of times for alchemists who just want to get that hand of money up very, very quickly. And they can definitely accomplish it despite being in an aggressive position. As for the rest of the compositions here, we do see Lone Druid is being left down bottom. Ice is going to stay down there, as I was mentioning. And yeah, it looks like they're going to be shaping it up so that NWP should be on the mid lane there. Or TFG, as this other tag is, too effing good. But yeah, we're going to see this tri lane up top. It's going to be Windrunner, Undying, and Shadow Demon. And honestly, it takes skilled usage of their main abilities, specifically the timing and decision making of the disruption, and then the angle of the shackle shot. But if they make it work, oh my goodness, this is a powerful tri-lane. The shackle shot on top of a tombstone just after coming out of a banish, you can really, really bring somebody down quickly. So the acid spray is going to have to come up pretty quickly. Might be completely foolish on this, but I think that the composite damage aspect will kill the zombies. I think that's correct, but obviously, there is a possibility I'm wrong. Either way, he's in the mid lane, so he's not going to make much of an impact early on, which means we're just going to see this aggressive try I was talking about from the beginning. So Visage adds into this tri lane extensively with his burst damage of the Soul Assumption. So all they need to do is get some damage on the field, either taking it or delivering it, and once that's out, those souls will be flying and dishing out amazing amounts of damage. And we do see Fisher and Split Earth coming out to start off, and there's an instant Gauction. Nice disruption.
Oh,
will the right clicks
nice.
fall on through on the right target? Freedom is going to be nuked down. So first blood goes to Lanham. Really, really good movement. They don't even need the Fisher to block them in. All they need is for it to connect, and they can follow it up perfectly with that Split Earth. That's a huge amount of disable. It's actually 1 second on top of 2 seconds, and then they get enough damage to finish it off. And honestly, although these high utility supports will be able to get lots of disables themselves, they have low HP, 470 for Windrunner, and Windrun's ability is not going to help her in this situation. Evading auto attacks isn't going to save you here.
Zenith's Dryland is a bit weaker in the early levels because Rattlesnake is just damage, stun, and damage purely, and Zenith has more like of this "don't go on us or you will die" kind of Dryland, whereas Rattlesnake just has the "we will kill you" Dryland, because Tombstone is not the best thing to kill heroes with, just as decay. It doesn't slow, it doesn't stun. That's something you really need early on. Disruption is also something more, something they want to keep in case they are initiated on. And they really want to be careful, because as soon as Visage gets some more levels into that Soul Assumption, that's going to hurt even more. And they just kill the hero from full health with their combination.
Exactly.
So Zenith needs to be careful with this, and they want to save their disruption just in case.
Rattlesnake's engagement, the timing of it is that they want to put all their damage on the front end of it. They're in the first 3 seconds, they're going to do most of their damage there, and that's where they're looking for most of the action, because of course Visage doesn't have the mana pool to support more than 1 or 2 Soul Assumptions very early on. So in this position, they are just going to go very, very front end damage output, whereas Zenith benefits from the fight going longer and longer. Shackle shots are relatively short cooldown. The illusions keep on doing right-click damage from the disruption, and then most importantly, those zombies and decay stacks keep on rolling up for ice. So he's in a position where he wants to have the fight go very, very long so he can survive longer and longer. And obviously, Rattlesnake make that not a possibility. Just go 100-0, quick burst combo, and they certainly have the tools to do it, at least for the moment.
Look at Alchemist's farm. He has 1 deny. He even had to go back to base to heal because the Queen of Pain is just so much out farming, and she even has a double damage, and look how aggressive she is.
Yeah.
And Alchemist is just dead because he doesn't stand a chance, not without a stout shield or anything.
Exactly.
Queen of Pain doesn't care about this little cloud, she's just gonna blink out of it. So this mid lineup, I'm not so sure. I really hope the trialing is gonna pay off for the Alchemist not getting any farm. At least he doesn't skill Greevil's Greed. I always want to call it Goblin's Greed. Greevil's Greed, so he's not gonna go farm but more aggression build. So that's something good. He's at least getting levels and experience.
Yeah, this is extremely painful for him. Like, he has the armor reduction on the creep, so he might be able to get a last hit here and there, but right now we're seeing him at 1 and 2. He's finally gotten his bottle out, but that's just going to help him hold the line. He can just constantly crow and stay in experience range, but that's not what you want as Alchemist. You want the gold advantage that you can get from that passive, and in this position, he's not really in a position to get it. So, like you said, hopefully the top lane will pay off. Right now, it seems to be the case. We'll have to see. Down on bottom, no Entangle available, so Icy's just going to take a few right-click harassment hits rather than any potential kill. But still, I mean, the Orb of Venom slows, there is a lot of right clicks, and Icy will be forced back at least for the moment, back behind the tower, maybe going in for some Sprout. Might have to teleport, but that would require Ice to actually resummon the bear to go deep. And right now, until Lone Druid hits level 5, it's not going to be that dangerous, but actually we're going to see that in just a moment. So we have to watch out for the Tainted Prophets. And now we see a little bit of clash of the supports up top. Disruption comes out, and the Tombstone right on top. There is going to be Lanham running on through. The Grave Tool, but gets hit by the Shackle. Big damage coming on through, but it shouldn't be enough here. He's still walking away, perfectly safe and sound, has 10 Magic Stick charges, and just throws out a quick Soul Assumption to balance out his health and mana. And meanwhile, on bot lane, we do see Nature's Prophet, Icy, having to teleport out. He's just under too much pressure in that tower, and luckily he is able to escape on and then TP back to the front lines, but that is the first teleport, and he only has 30 seconds to wait before he'll get that next one out.
Oh, and top again, Windrunner. Oh, Windrunner, she's dead.
Yeah, should be able to burst her down with this next nuke. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Disruption! I'm not sure why he waited so long, but yeah, perfect timing for the Shadow Demon to disrupt that oncoming Soul Assumption so that XY wouldn't be dropped down. Instead, it's Alchemist yanking up on the Lone Druid down bottom, helping out this Nature's Prophet. They still lose the tower. The Siege Creep enough to finish it off here, but the combination of Icy and Luo able to bring down Ice, which is a feat among itself, especially since they just resummoned the bear. It's on a 95-second cooldown, and that's going to be quite some time before Ice can get his lane presence back up.
I'd really like to talk about wards for a second, but I'm not sure if I can. If Rattlesnake could relax for a short second so I can say this. When both teams invaded their enemy's jungle in the beginning, only Rattlesnake dropped off some wards in the enemy jungle. Zenith saved them, and they're still holding them back. They placed one very defensively on their own jungle, but they didn't save the Lone Druid by giving him vision. And that might have been the problem just there, that they didn't drop any wards, because they would have still been up. Although we're 5 minutes in.
Yeah, absolutely. So
maybe not be so greedy and hold the wards back, just place 1 or 2 and have your offlaner safe. Because now, like you said, the bear is still 50 seconds on cooldown. That's a lot in the beginning where you just want to farm him.
So he's just going to hide underneath his tier 2 tower, actually, just as far back as possible. He is safe even from an invisible Alchemist in this position, but he can't do anything to contest the lane directly, so Prophet gets his push. He gets his free opportunity with his Basilius.
Top.
Okay, big damage coming on through with Disruption coming out onto XY. Both of them very, very low. The Soul Assumption will hit this time, and XY will fall, so timing of the Disruption with that Soul Assumption to actually get that kill opportunity. Now, charging up the Concoction down on bottom. Lone Druid Ice going to take some big hits. He gets the deny on the tower, but he should lose his life here. Big right clicks coming out. He dodged out the stun from the Concoction, but ate all the damage. So, in the end, he is going to take a fall. It seems like TFG wants to turn something around, though. Took a few right clicks here. Burst damage coming from the Sonic Wave to prevent that teleport from saving the Prophet's life. Still, tower trade. Actually, Lone Druid completely on top of the towers because the Dire got the kill on the tower on the bot tier 1 Radiant, and then Lone Druid himself denied that of the Dyers. So, right now, as far as the gold goes, we're going to see that Zenith has a bit of a lead as a result of that, but everything else isn't really looking that great for them.
Okay, so I think you have to keep talking for a second because I'm having horrible FPS and I need to restart my Dota 2 for a second. So you just keep talking.
Sure thing. So now we are reaching nighttime, past that 6-minute mark that you were mentioning for wards, so some rewards have to come up on the rune spawns and such. Right now, honestly, it seems like Rattlesnake is completely blind in their jungle. Icy going to be in a bit of a rough patch if the Lone Druid does come out to play, and maybe there's an extra here to gank alongside him. Queen of Pain's skill build right now, looking at a second point in Blink now, as she has already hit level 8, so she can be aggressive, be mobile, be active, and we've already seen that kind of take place with TFG ganking down on the bot lane, putting the first kill on the board for Zenith. So that's going to be more and more relevant, and we'll have to see how aggressive the wards are. XY going to need a Fisher here, but no follow-up to really be concerned about. This tri-lane does seem to be working out, though. Visage is actually taking the farm over the Leshrac, which kind of surprised me, but if Lanham can get pretty beefy, it won't really be that big of a deal. What they need right now is a lot of mana on him. Arcane Boots, well, I guess not Arcane since they do have the Tranquils, unless they want to go like some Vlad's Tranquil combo, or Vlad's Arcane combo, but at least for now, he's going to be looking for mana, but is going to hang out for the Tranquil Boots, so that he will be able to survive and regenerate on the lane very actively.
I'm reconnecting.
Okay.
I really don't know what's wrong. I haven't played since the last patch, and it might just be the patch. Sometimes those patches just kill your FPS, but it shouldn't be that.
Okay. Well, hopefully not.
So what's going on?
Not too much, honestly. They're still kind of maintaining status quo. Nature's Prophet moving on into the jungle now that he's got his push on, but the bear is actually stalking him up. He's literally just hanging out, watching what's going on. It's just like constantly a panda follows you, and I don't think you've probably seen it. There's this one foreign panda cheese commercial or something like that, where like you don't buy the panda cheese and suddenly there's this giant stuffed panda staring at you, just standing there constantly, and that's exactly what's happening here. This panda bear is just constantly looking at Icy. He's like, what's going on? Why are you farming the jungle? But that's just
I
weird.
need to watch that video later. It's so mean though. I kind of feel sorry. There's this one guy in hospital who doesn't want to eat the panda cheese, and then the panda just comes and pulls out his medication.
Oh gosh, oh gosh.
It's a cruel video, but I have to watch it
Yeah,
later.
it has to go in
we
Twitch chat.
see a smoke gang towards the middle lane. Queen of Pain
Yeah.
is in danger, but she has blink.
We'll see how the reflexes go. Concoction very, very short. There's the Concoction to hit and the Earthshaker stun to follow. They're going to be able to bring her down here. Really nice combo, and actually going to be the snipe of Icy to get the Wrath of Nature out. So he will get some a chunk of that experience, as well as the 3 participating, and big damage with the Edict and the Nature's Prophet, Nature's Call to bring down this tower as well. So a really, really great transition for Rattlesnake right here, taking down a tower as well as the key solo mid hero, which is probably one that's been doing the best thus far, topping out the last hits and having the only kill that Zenith has acquired. I really, really think it's really important to take down TFG. And they're actually not stopping here. They have their Bassi active and the Nature's Call still going, and another Edict going on through to bring down this tier 2. They get the stun on Ice Ice Ice. He does recall the bear though, and he is ready to rumble a little bit. Battlecry comes on out. He is going to connect. No entangle yet though, and the Fisher should prevent them from chasing any further. Still, force them back off the tier 2 tower. Extremely important if they're going to actually be able to make it to a point where the Lone Druid can get some relevant farm up.
You know what's interesting? They're 4 kills ahead. The towers are even. No, the towers aren't even, but the gold graph is. It's 0.
Yeah, it looks like Earthshaker was about to fall, but actually just baiting out so Alchemist can get a great concoction off TFG and a really, really rough patch. Luo's going to be stalking him up. There is going to be the blink on top of Earthshaker, getting the kill with the Panda Bear swipe. And now TFG is going to try to juke on into trees. 3 seconds, but no, it's just going to go on Ice 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 here. So TFG should be able to get out. And actually wanting to go in. They get the disruption, they have the soul shifter. There will be a scream and Sonic Wave. Not enough mana, but it doesn't matter. She saves it actually. She was about to cast it. Didn't need it though, and they will be able to back off with 2 extra kills there. Really, really good movement. The question is, can they follow it up with a tower? So far, Rattlesnake has been able to follow up every single one of their major engagements with a tower kill. And honestly, they're split pushing the bottom, so really, really, Zenith needs to get this mid.
Bottom tower is under attack.
And where's Prophet going? Prophet is going back into the jungle. He has his Midas now, so he's gonna start getting rich and getting a Hex up or maybe a mech. Let's look at the items for a second to see. Well, there is a Medallion of Courage on the Visage, so that's gonna help with killing fast. I don't see a mech coming up on their side yet, but on Zenith we have almost a mech on Windrunner.
Well, Lano does have 1400 gold, so that's a possibility there.
Boom in the mid lane.
Is there going to be a pickoff or just the kill on the Queen of Pain? Sorry, yeah,
Yes,
that one there was
including Echo Slam.
okay.
They're really just Rattlesnake is all out. Get every kill you can. They're playing so aggressive. All the heroes are aggressive as well, and I'm lagging again.
Sorry, I missed that kill, guys.
Look
I'm kind of still waking up here on the American side of things, but no, that was a good pickoff.
What time is it?
They committed what they needed to with the Echo Slam. They definitely got it there. But, yeah, Queen of Pain being dropped down again. That is actually like her 3rd death? No, just the 2nd one. But either way, she's in a pretty rough patch. She's, like I said, the most important to bring down early so that you don't have to worry about that level 2 Sonic Wave for as long as possible. But you see Concoction. Oh, big damage coming out. Windrunner is going to hit by the Concoction. Does pop out the Windrun. Does get healed up substantially, but will it be enough here? Too much damage gets sprouted on in and everything surrounding her to bring her down. Now Ice thriving in the circumstance with all these zombies just spawning, but it's going to be TFG dropping his payload of the Sonic Wave, but falling immediately after the fact. Big soul storms are coming out on Ice, but he's so darn tanky. He might be able to survive. There's zombies everywhere. Oh my gosh. This is like Left 4 Dead. This is just everything everywhere. Can they survive on through this? Trying to get out with the Grave Chill. There is going to be an Entangle proc on Icy. That will lock him down. Soul Assumption out on Freedom. There's going to be a Concoction to follow it up under the Acid Spray, and that's going to be his death. Next is Ice. They got the Edict damage. They got the Fisher, and that will be a follow-up kill. Big damage coming on through. That is going to be 4 kills, and only losing 1 in the process. And again, I think they're going to follow this up with a tower.
I think it was actually a team wipe, because Windrunner already respawned.
The Undying was the one that I thought might have survived, but no, he did get dropped down by the Nature's Prophet there, so yeah.
Team wipe and the tower now. Windrunner actually stayed alive very long because he had a magic stick with I think almost full and a mech, and that gave Zenith kind of the impression that they can stall it so they can fight under their own tower, and they ported everyone in, and everyone just came in 2 seconds after each other because you can't teleport at the same time, and then they just died one by one.
Yeah, I'm kind
Scylla did a good job. He has some decent damage now, but apart from that, if Queen of Pain doesn't have everything, full mana, and can just go full out, it takes a while, and the zombies are against the tanky heroes they have. I mean, Alchemist is rather tanky. Visage is getting tanky with the Gravekeeper's Cloak. Earthshaker is a strength hero. The zombies don't really bother them that much.
So the one thing that kind of really surprised me about that engagement was how little the mechanism changed. Like in that position, it felt like if they could just make the fight last longer, Ice on the Undying could do that much more with his continuous soul rips. But I guess it is a pretty long cooldown of 25, and we saw the zombies kind of doing their work. But with a long cooldown decaying, long cooldown soul rip, he's not that spammable, and honestly couldn't just get much more off than he had already done. So, yeah, in this position, the longer the fight goes on, it does help their chances, but not doing enough in this position here. So that is very, very unfortunate for them, especially since Mechanism should come out for the enemy team shortly. No, actually, Aghanim Scepter rush for Lanham, which is great stats, and of course, the third familiar can provide some extra potential as well. But we do see Smoke Gang coming on in, Kabu leading the charge with those familiars, and it should be the kill of XYXY with this pick off of the Grave Shield. There's the Soul Assumption. There's going to be a couple Stone Forms to lock Windrunner in place, and that's going to be a most certain kill. And yeah, the Tier 1 tower still stands. They were able to push that back, but I don't think that's going to be true for much longer.
I've just received notification that Queen of Pain is Yamate, in fact.
Okay, yeah, obviously.
I've just been told that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were standing in with something silly or...
It's the Asian scene. You never really know who's playing and who's not, and
Okay.
who's who.
Yeah.
So, no problem.
For those
And
guys
I
that don't know, I'm
can
still
they
pretty new
do?
to the Asian scene, so obviously I should have known that that was one of his alternate aliases, but they switch up their names so frequently it's kind of difficult to keep track of.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And Zenith, they're really having a problem, because as soon as someone gets locked into that super stun combination by Rattlesnake, there's nothing they can do apart from farming a 4-star and then pushing someone out or disrupting. But even disrupting doesn't last that long, because then there's just going to be another stun, and the charge up for the Soul Assumption from Visage just lasts so long that is longer than the duration of a disruption. So what can they do? As soon as they get initiated on, they're basically dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is difficult. I mean, they're kind of grouping up together. You can see that other than the Lone Druid, they are trying to make sure that they are all kind of in one big cluster, ready for a team fight, ready to make sure that they don't just get picked off from smoke. But even when they do that, they're just really limiting how much experience they can gain. They're literally just completely hindering the spread of what they have going across. As far as you look at the graph and you see that there's this huge advantage now, 6,000 experience, not just in kills, but in the fact that they just keep on farming all of these different resources, controlling their jungle, keeping track of things, and going for a kill onto Yamate here. Nice defensive disruption, as well as intended soul rip to keep her up, and yeah, Yamate is going to be able to fall back from here. So good movement there, really, really essential for them to stay active. But there is a really cool pickup on the board. Alchemist is going to be the one running a mechanism. What do you think about that?
Alchemist. Oh, that's interesting. He doesn't have the best mana pool in the world, and he has phase boots, and how many arcanes are there on the team? I see one so far. So I really hope he's gonna get it off in the team fight as soon as he used a little bit of acid spray to farm some creeps. Look at his mana pool, it's just not the best one.
He gets the regeneration from
point
the
something
ultimate,
out,
but
exactly. Look at the wards from Zenith.
Ooh.
Zenith they know they're in a bad position right now, so they're really trying to get a lot of vision out there, and that will help them. And at the moment they have how many wards out? 4, 5?
yeah,
And Rattlesnake has 1 at the rune spot. So, in terms of vision, that's their advantage, and now they need to play with that. They need to not get caught off and maybe find an initiation. But what is their initiation? Apart from a shackle shot or a disruption? And like I said, they want to keep the disruption in case they get in trouble. They're not really the lineup to jump on someone.
Yeah, it's really, really difficult to actually get that started. I mean, the Queen of Pen can always be on the front line if she wants to, but the others have trouble following it up, so that's definitely going to be difficult. They do have the Nature's Prophet with the Shadow Blade on Rattlesnake, which makes it even harder to jump on somebody, because now you have to have dedicated detection holders as well, and it'll take them a little bit of time to react to that. One big thing to also mention is the move, as you were talking about the wards, and one thing that's more important in my opinion than the observers is their sentry placement. Making sure that they don't have ward coverage on the mid lane, making sure they don't have to worry about wards covering up their jungle here and the main entrance to that. It means that they actually feel a lot more confident branching out a little bit, which is difficult when your tier 1 tower is down up top and in the mid. You just kind of feel a little bit pushed in, you aren't able to actually spread your wings a little bit and pick up that extra gold. But with those good sentries, they know that Rattlesnake's not going to go in blind. They're going to go in gradually, putting down wards wherever they need to gain control of the map, and just kind of a slow little creep spread as far as bringing out their vision here. They're not going to jump on into it immediately. So we do see them doing this gradual push up top, and it should be to rather great effect. I mean, we have already talked about their different utilities in push and early team fights, but now they have this mechanism up on towards the Alchemist, and he still has enough mana for his 2 main abilities at the least. Sprout coming in on this bear, actually really bad for him, and no Quelling Blade to actually chew him on out, so he's going to take a lot of hits here, but does have that Stout Shield to remain active. XY is going to be the one to take a big hit from the Soul Assumption, but gets Soul Rip right back up to full. Does have to take a few hits from the Acid Spray, but it looks like it's just a little bit back and forth. This is going to be their engagement they want. Concoction is charging up, will connect on Undying, bursting him hard. Acid Spray is active. There's the Echo Slam on all those little tiny zombies. Big damage onto Kabu. It looks like they're going to pick up the Leshrac on the back end first. Are they going to be able to finish off anybody else, though? The mechanism still hasn't been used. Needs to pop it off. Keeps Icy up. There's the Concoction, or the Soul Assumption going down onto Freedom, but both falling back from here. Neither team having much long-range presence beyond that, and it looks like they're just going to eat their own Concoction here. So now going in, they see the big stun on Luo. They use it as an opportunity to shackle him to a tree. Can they follow up with the damage? Sonic Wave comes on through. They could go for the Scream, but they don't have the mana or the distance. Either way, blinking out of that Soul Assumption, they lose the bear and get nothing for it.
And that's just what I mean. Zenith has no damage at this point. The full Queen of Pain level 2 wave just went out of them. They just didn't care. They're all so tanky, and they just have the advantage right now, the item advantage. Visage has an Aghanim Scepter, so there's going to be 3 little birdies now, and they deal quite some damage to towers and to heroes. Not to speak of the stun, which is also amazing. So Zenith is really having trouble right now, and I also see it kind of in the draft. The draft didn't respond to the very, very aggressive plan from Rattlesnake, just killing everyone, and as the time comes, push. They have a Shadow Blade on Nature's Prophet, so he's gonna be sneaky, split push a lot, and then just Shadow Blade and TP out. So I hope they buy some dust for that.
Exactly, and right now
from that, there's not really items on Zenith. If you bring up the item board, what is there? There's a lot of small items, some cloaks, some branches.
Well, they do have the armlet up on the bear, as well as maybe a Gloves of Haste to work towards a Maelstrom or something like that. But literally, that's, I mean, the fact that they have an extra item bar for the Spirit Bear doesn't really change the fact that they are extremely behind. I mean, an Aghanim Scepter on a friggin' Visage in only 21 minutes, that's kind of unheard of, and that's just setting up so Lan can really be a main player here.
And Windrunner gets to TP out this time around. No stun from the Familiars, so she lives.
Yep, barely.
And I think Rattlesnake is gonna maybe push the mid tower or the bottom tower, and then take Roshan, because as soon as they take those towers, if they win a fight, there's not going to be buyback and teleportation back in. And I see them with an Aegis on one of their core heroes, be it Alchemist or even the Visage. If they feel like they need that more, they can just start pushing the base. Zenith can't really defend. What do they have to defend? They have a power shot to clear waves.
Exactly. Very little counter push. I mean, the Undying Tombstone under a tower will stop them from assaulting it for just a little while, but you're still going to be taking a lot of hits, and honestly, it only lasts for a short period of time. So now that they're kind of forcing the issue on this tower, going to be dropping off a Nature's Call to really just start putting the pressure on. There's very little that can be done, especially with Lanham finding a pickoff on top of that Shadow Demon. Now they're going in 5 versus 4. They go for a big Echo Slam coming in from Saga. They're going to be able to put tons of stuns out on Ice Ice. He will fall despite the mechanism, and now they're going to be able to focus down a double stun, double concoction, going down on the rest of them. Wrath of Nature, as well as the big Soul Assumption still hitting hard. Now we do see Sonic Wave on the back end. Queen of Pain does pick off that Earthshaker, but pops out for BKB, uses her haste, and now is out of mana entirely. The tier 2 will fall, and they can maneuver from here as much as they want to, dewarding the Sentry, or the Observer with the Sentry. And yeah, they take this very easily.
Zenith's draft can't deal with that. The Earthshaker just there, he walked into the enemy team and Echo Slammed, and they couldn't do anything. And apart from that, I mean, you mentioned the Tombstone a couple of times, but there are a lot of Treants around, there are a lot of Familiars around. They can just focus this on the Tombstone, then it's down within seconds, so the zombies aren't even going to be a problem. So, and if Undying doesn't drop the Tombstone, he can't do so much. His spells are good in harassing and in try on try if you play it right. And his ulti makes him tanky, but he doesn't really add to the teamfight what they need. What they need is counter initiation, stuns, or ways to save heroes, and he really doesn't have that here.
So yeah, it's really difficult. They don't have any kind of hard lockdown, which is obviously what you're talking about there. They have the shackle, and that is maxed out, but it's all putting a lot of pressure on XY, where he's going to have those disables. They don't really have any just major ground target stuns that'll make an impact on the fight. They don't have those impales, those earth spikes, those splitters, the light strike rays. I mean, I could name a million different sons of the game that they just haven't decided to draft up. They got a lot of great damage. They have nearly maxed out Soul Catcher to work with the Lone Druid's right clicks very, very effectively. But as far as actually getting some disable to deal with this, they are very, very far behind. The Slice of Ice will be coming out on Icy in a little bit here, and it's going to be very, very dangerous for them. It's going to be, once they add in that extra disable on top of what they've already brought to the table, suddenly there's just really, really limited hope. We also see on top of that a Pipe of Insight in the works for Lanham, and if he picks that up, the Queen of Pain's not going to be doing very much at all.
And they're going in middle.
Yeah, big damage coming out. The Queen of Pain losing a lot of HP. Leshrac getting entangled up, though. They will be able to bring down Lesh. But now, on the front lines, Lou doing a lot of damage. XY gonna barely get on out of there. He actually gets disrupted up, and he's gonna be force-staffed away. NWP chasing out Icy, but they don't have the detection to bring him down. XY eats another concoction in the face, but no casualties other than the Leshrac as of yet. So, bringing down some burst damage. And, yeah, that's what we're gonna see. We also have the Spirit Bear getting a little bit in over his head, but without his master allowing him to do the right clicks, he's just going to get stunned out, taking some hits, but trying to do the best he can to try to burn down this tower. Instead, the tier 2 will just fall, and a lot of right clicks going in. The Spirit Bear getting it stunned out. Does he have the resummon? 10 seconds, so he will be able to bring it back, but it is a pretty big kill, just picking up the 100 gold bounty and setting him back even further in those cooldowns. They've taken the tier 2. They're happy to just walk away with that. Surprisingly, no pressure on Roche just yet, but they're just going to go out and farm the other lanes.
I don't know why I just said they're diving the tower. I thought there was a tower because my video quality is really horrible, so nice. I apologize for that miscall. But I think they're just going to farm a little bit now, then they're going to try to push the last outer tower, which is the bottom tier 2, and then they're going to take Roshan. Because right now, if they just farm for 10 more minutes, they're going to have such a huge advantage that Zenith can't do anything. Right now, if they do some mistakes, there is a chance for Zenith to still kill them. They have Ice, Ice, Ice. The bear is dealing a lot of damage. So Rattlesnake has so much map control right now, they just want to lean back a little bit, farm, and then just roll over Zenith and end the game.
Yeah, they have a lot of ground to cover here. 100%. They are extremely far behind. As far as the gold graph goes, we see 7,500 in favor of Rattlesnake, and even more so in terms of experience. So Zenith is really, really far behind. They're getting some basic, cheap, tanky items on the Undying, just so he can try to survive longer into the engagements, but it just doesn't seem like things are going their way. The Pipe of Insight up on Lanham, he is going to be on the front lines constantly. He can eat through a lot of damage, whether through his great amount of HP of 1550 plus the mechanism that the Alchemist has, or the fact that he has so much mitigation. When you consider the Pipe on top of the Medallion and Gravekeeper's Cloak, he is just the guy with all the armor and the magic resistance in the world, and so honestly, they cannot do anything to him right here. He's regenerating very rapidly, and he is just going to be continuing to be a force to be reckoned with. So he's going to be continuing to kind of play that #1 Visage role, if that's a thing. And it looks like Alchemist is still going to add utility, going in for that mechanism now towards that Assault Cuirass to try to add in more potential painful armor auras.
Yeah, he didn't get so much farm early on. He was on that mid lane against the Queen of Pain, who just got killed. And it seems like they still don't want to do Roshan, although Alchemist is starting on it now. It's just the best time for it.
Yeah. Queen of Pain doesn't have buyback, so that's exactly why. Because they were able to commit the Echo Slam while she was pushing on the creep wave, and then Scyther, of course, so they were able to bring her down in a short period of time. And without it, there's nothing that Zenith can do. They just, even if they know about it, they have to watch.
Oh god, they can't do anything. This is really one of those games where you feel like that from the start there's something that just went wrong. In this case it was Zenith having not prepared against this very aggressive playstyle. Now they're just sitting in their base, they don't really know what to do. They still have some vision out that has not been counter-warded, but it's just a matter of time. Do we have a gem up actually? I'm just checking. Nope, there's no gem up, but there is a Hex up on Nature's Prophet. They're just getting so many items. They even have 2 medallions of courage to just burst down heroes even faster with the right click.
Wow. Yeah, that is considerable. Just putting the debuff on 2 different heroes really, really quickly, it's like they do so much damage outright. I mean, the Edict, they have a lot of composite damage sources like Luos and Caboose will be able to dish out damage in all different regards, but the Visage Familiars, actually, their damage is no joke, and if you can Medallion and then focus them down with right clicks, it's pretty insane. Decay doing very, very little to the piped up creeps. We are going to see the Power Shot follow immediately after the fact. Actually trying to get a good shackle off. They will connect on Lanham, but again, he is very tanky. Even with the pipe on cooldown, they're still going to be able to bring a lot down. Big Fisher coming on. Yamate has to force the BKB. They're going to see the ice hit with that Unstable Concoction. They're just going to actually deal with the zombies directly. before actually broaching the top. Oh, big splitter. It's locking down XY. They're going to follow it up with the Scythe of Vice and finish him off before he can use the mechanism. So he is down for the count. As far as buybacks go, he is the only one with buyback. So they're going to send him right back on into it. He has the mechanism. It's a very crucial cooldown. This zombie, this tombstone, taken away. It's going to expire, and now they can go up top. Healing up the familiars, getting their charges all the way back up to full. And mind you, this is just a rank 2 ultimate, but it's still been very effective throughout the previous engagements.
And this is looking very, very grim for Zenith. And this makes Rattlesnake, I mean, we've seen them now in a couple of games, and they look good.
Extremely good.
How do you think they're going to do in the Eastern qualifier, as we just see another good checker, but the bear, the main damage source, is just going down?
So we're seeing Concussion fly on through. They're still just kind of poking and prodding at them, trying to force them away from the tower and doing just a little bit of damage here. As soon as the tower breaks, they're actually going to pretty much have even footing once they're uphill. And in this position, Zenith can't really win a direct 5v5 engagement. No blink or anything up on Earthshaker, so weird stuff for them, Vitality, Drum, stuff like that. He's not going to be able to just jump on in, but he can gradually just roll on over, sloth it up.
You can just walk in. What are they going to do? They use their shackles to initiate, so as soon as the shackle is gone, they want to keep the disruption. You can just walk in.
Exactly.
He doesn't care.
So we do see the Tombstone flying once more. Flesh Golem active. Ice on the front lines. He's the guy that has to actually stay active here. But we do see big Sonic Wave coming in from the back end. And it's not enough to keep Yamate alive. The BKB. Oh, that Echo Slam. Earthshaker sending out so much damage on every zombie ever. Why fear the Tombstone? You can just let it cook. It's pretty much the concoction charging up in a gigantic AoE. It's just like, spawn, 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 baby. We're just going to send out the biggest Echo Slam in the book. And oh my goodness, was that painful to watch. That was really, really good move from Rattlesnake. They control it. They got the laning phase, as we were talking about. They drafted a very dynamic strategy. And it, like you said, it does show a lot of strength, a lot of potential for them in the Eastern qualifiers, what they can bring to these other teams that aren't Zenith. I mean, a lot of people think that LGD China is a guaranteed slot. And, of course, they play amazingly, so I'm not going to take that away from them. But there's always the possibility that they can be unseeded. Maybe not drop down to third, but could be the ones to take the wildcard slot. And if anybody's going to take a win off of LGD, I could see a dynamic draft and very unique but effective style like this of Rattlesnakes being the games to do it.
It will be very, very interesting to see, and I can't wait for the qualifiers to start. What are your, just out of interest, what are your favorites for the Western?
Hard call. Very, very difficult call. I'm thinking with Sexy Bamboo and a little bit of coaching from Milk, they're going to do a lot of preparation. I think EG is going to be a really, really good team. And from there, it's a bit of a wash. There's like 3 different teams that I would say have a lot of potential, but Q-Pads have to be the favorite. Just not only have they been changing a lot and improving a lot, but they still have their own unique sense. They've never, one thing that they've been able to accomplish is staying true to their style. That they've been able to kind of stay very, very active, and kind of tying almost even with Q-Pad has got to be Mouse Sports as well. With they've changed up their roster a bit, but honestly, they've made a lot of improvements recently, and it's been really good for them. Interesting to hear.
Interesting to hear. Well, let's just hope that Zenith is going to come back in the second game, because they have been invited to the International, and they should show anyone that there is a reason they have been invited, not that they get stomped in 30 minutes by a team that has to qualify to get to the tournament. So let's hope for a better second game, a bit more even, maybe a bit more action from both sides.
Absolutely. So now just taking out the towers, the Ancients. I'm not sure why. It should be just a second before it does blow up in of its own volition, as the Zenith players have disconnected on out. But that is game 1 of this best of 3 series here. We do see Rattlesnakes take the win, and we will be moving on into that game 2 of the best of 3. So that will be interesting to see. It's coming up right after this. No real breaks or anything along those lines. So 3 or 4 minutes from now, that game there. But so far, an interesting series, strong showing from Rattlesnake. And yeah, we have to see something big from Zenith to answer back with. They don't want to lose their pride of being a TI3 invitee just based on this matchup here. They want to move forward in the AMD Premier League, and who wouldn't in this situation? Again, we're down to the quarterfinals. Whoever takes the win here advances forward to fight out in the semis, and yeah, that is what we're going to be deciding. Who they're going to be facing this round, of course, and next round is what's going to be decided today, because we do have another match going on. It's Mineski versus, I forget the other team outright, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting series today. We have 2 best of 3s.
MUFC.
There you go, MUFC and Mineski. There we go. And that is going to be coming up in a little bit here. This Game 2 coming up in just a minute, and then later on today we'll have that extra Best of 3 series. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been a Beyond the Summit presentation. I myself am Blaze. If you want to check me out, it's twitter.com/blazecasting. And this is Maruna, and you can check her out at Maruna_Dota.
Yes.
Cool.
You can follow me there.
Do you have any other shout-outs or any other thoughts on the match before we proceed on
I
forward?
think I'm gonna keep that for the second or third match when we're done.
Sounds good. Alrighty then, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Going on to the next game in just a minute.